Savant.
Oh my stars, Cole Caulfield ties it.
He's in. He scores! Oh my! Demidov!
What's up, everybody, and welcome to another episode of the Curfew Boys podcast here on YouTube. Thank you very much for tuning in. Please give us a like and subscribe or follow or whatever you want to call it, because I keep screwing the intro up, but that's okay. Thanks so much for tuning in. The Curfew Boys episodes available on Apple Podcasts and Spotify for your audio formats. I am Sammy. He is my cousin Chris. No. It is Friday, July 4th, so that is a very big happy Independence Day or happy 4th of July to all of our American friends and followers south of the border. And hope you're all having a great day, great 4th of July. Stay safe. Please don't set your backyards on fire with fireworks, but at the end of the day, please enjoy it with your family and friends. And this episode of the Curfew Boys is sponsored by Habs Cave. To our buddy Sunil, a big shout out and a big thank you for all that he does for the Montreal Canadiens community and for the community in general. Go to Habs Cave on Instagram, give him a follow for the best Montreal Canadiens memorabilia content. A man's dream of having a cave like that, none other than the Habs Cave, especially if you're a Montreal Canadiens fan. So thank you to Sunil at Habs Cave. Give Habs Cave a follow on Instagram. And last but not least, Mike's Barbecue Rub. My buddy Mike in RDP creates his own barbecue spices. It's warm. It's beautiful. Summer is here. We're just getting started. Go to mikesbarbecuerub.com. His products are amazing for anything that you want to put on the grill, fish, meat, vegetables, you name it. He also is the only company in Canada that uses his own barbecue spice to season his kettle chips, which are amazing. So go to mikesbarbecuerub.com for more information about his products. Last but not least, always remember to rub your meat, folks. Yeah.
Isn't it? Don't forget to rub your meat.
Don't forget to rub your meat. Always rub your meat. It doesn't matter as long as the rub of your meat phrase is in there. It's the catchphrase of it all. And who says this show needs to be PG, right? Chris, how you doing?
Not these two guys.
No. We're messed up as we are in this family. So, so what's new?
It's a family episode.
It is.
Before I get into what's new with me, first and foremost, happy birthday. Happy belated birthday.
Thank you, sir. Thank you. Not much has changed, just more back pains and, luckily the knee pains aren't so bad. Sometimes you roll your ankle when you get out of bed and you don't know why. That's just God has a wicked plan for us, I guess, as you get older, but he's got a sense of humor. That son of a bitch. But no, I'm just kidding. No, thank you. Yeah. Not much has changed. I feel the same. 37 years old or 37 years young.
37.
Yeah.
Fuck. Okay.
How do you not know your own cousin's age? Yeah. Your brother's birthday is coming up too soon in 10 days. 10? Yeah, he's the 14th, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, he's the 14th. You have to think for a second.
Nah, they're just a little. It's been a long week, a great week, but a long week.
Yeah.
On my side, listeners, I don't think they care for 2 seconds, but a significant change of career path on my end, going back a little bit more into a business development sales role, but just completely changed industry. I'm going to take this moment to tell people, I think just focus on doing the things that you love in life. I have to say, all around, it was a significant move. As said, it was one that brought about a whole bunch of, betterment in a lot of regards. Not that my former company treated me badly or anything like that. It's just this was so much of a better opportunity. Something I feel as though it came through manifestation and visualization. I'm a big believer in that, and this opportunity was basically too good to be true when it finally came in. And this was basically week one for me, and it was all that and more. And just the like not only mental well-being, just like so much happier in general. So, people strive and fight for what you want in life, believe in yourself, and for those who wake up every day uncertain about what they do, I cannot emphasize enough. Go. It's easier said than done, but go for what speaks to your heart. Promise. I promise it'll make a huge difference in your life.
Yeah, yeah. It's he got an offer from the Maple Leafs folks, but he had to turn it down. He had to turn that one down to work for something better. No, it's great.
Much better.
Happy to hear that it was being on the other side of things as a family member. I think it was about time, and couldn't be happier for you. You
Nice, man.
mentioned it's been a great week. It's a hell of a week. It's been a great week. I can't believe. I mean, the main subject, of course, is going to be one of the trades. Like, I guess the second big trade of the offseason made by Kent Hughes and the Montreal Canadiens. The funny thing about this all was our last episode. We went on the air to record free agent day, free agent frenzy. Started early in the day, released it around noon, and then what happens? Maybe like what was it like half an hour later? Like
Yeah.
breaking news: the Montreal Canadiens trade Logan Mailloux to the St. Louis Blues, and when that happened, the first thing we all were thinking of was Jordan Kyrou, because that was the big rumor 24 hours previous to that, or 24 hours prior to that, right? But then I started thinking, yeah, but Kyrou's full no trade clause kicked in as of midnight that day. I'm like, but there's like, is it possible? Is it? And then I forgot, I don't know if it was Frank Cervalli on Twitter that said Logan Mailloux going to St. Louis, and it's not Jordan
Not, yeah.
Kyrou coming, but it's something. So then
It
I
wasn't
saw that.
Frank. It wasn't Frank,
I
but I
forgot. I
remember
don't know.
seeing
I don't
that
know
too.
if I think it was Frank Saravalli, or I don't know if it was. Listen, it's one of the
Was it
big
not Pierre
names.
Lebrun? Yeah, it might have been Pierre
Was it Pierre
Lebrun.
LeBrun? Oh, it could be. Maybe it was Pierre. It's one of those big names. So a shout out to Frank Saravalli, Pierre LeBrun, Darren Dreger, and of course Elliot Friedman. I love so many others that are in that business. But like those are the four big names that we follow on Twitter and amongst others. But then I saw, for some reason, Chris, right away my mind went to Dylan Holloway. I don't know
Mhm.
why, and there was no way it was going to be possible because they offer sheeted him off of the Edmonton Oilers. But for some reason, my mind went to him. Maybe because he's an old teammate of Cole Caulfield from Wisconsin. I don't know why, but I think I remember texting the group chat. I'm like, oh my god, if it's for Dylan Holloway, I'm gonna lose it because he's a good player. Dylan Holloway is a very very good player. I think not a centerman, but still. Anyways, and then the news broke out for local boy Zachary Bolduc, and you know what it is? It kind of took me back to the time when PK was traded for Shea Weber. It felt like at that time, it's mind you, it was a lot more of a heartbreak to see PK Subban go,
Yeah.
but you were so happy to see Shea Weber join the Montreal Canadiens. But this one, I think I'm a lot more in favor. I'm okay with seeing Logan Mailloux go, as much as you know watched the final year of his junior season with the London Knights, and obviously watched his time with the Laval Rocket for 2 seasons. Had an excellent rookie year, one of the top rookie defensemen of the AHL. Then last year or this past season, a little bit his point production went down, but he started working a bit more on the defensive side of his game. So, but in all that to say, it's not that it sucks to see him go, but I think when they acquired Noah Dobson, it was only a matter of time. They didn't get rid of Mailloux then. They didn't get a Reinbacker. Obviously, they did not get rid of Michael Hage. Obviously, I'm going to get to that later. So I'm there thinking like, oh, okay, well, maybe they're maybe having Dobson, having Reinbacher, and maybe Logan Mailloux could be a bottom pairing if he works on his defensive game. But now the more you think about it, having a Noah Dobson is basically having a couple of years older, more established NHL defenseman. They're two defensemen of the same profile type guys, like big defensemen, more offensive minded, good skaters, good shot. So I guess at the end of the day, we all knew it was coming once Noah
Yeah.
Dobson got here. So,
Yeah, I don't think by the time he truly develops, and look, first and foremost, wishing Logan Mailloux the utmost success in St. Louis. I think he's gonna,
mhm,
he's gonna have a spot, I think, sooner rather than later as compared to the Canadiens organization, just because of
mhm,
the openings that they have over there. Wishing him the utmost success. He was one of the prospects that I didn't necessarily want to part ways with, but you said it so well with the arrival of Noah Dobson. They're truly like Logan Mailloux was not expect. He might have been a number four defenseman, but he's definitely not a bottom pairing defenseman. I think Alexandre Carrier fits that build a lot better, or somebody
mhm.
like him is going to
Yeah,
fill
of
that
course.
build a lot better for years to come. Is going to be a lot more cap friendly at the end of the day. Logan Mailloux would have been somebody who commanded a lot more money, but like you said, if you already have that defenseman and that style of play, you have two offensive defensemen in Lane Hudson and
Mhm.
Noah Dobson, who arguably are going to do it much better than Logan Mailloux. No disrespect to Logan Mailloux, it's
Yeah,
just
exactly.
those guys are absolute studs on defense. So he becomes expendable. And when the news finally broke, I have to say, it was like I think it's here in Montreal, other places in the league too, but we get very attached to our players.
Yeah.
You fall in
Oh,
love with
yeah.
them almost right away. And in that sense, there was a certain like, oh my God, like we just gave up one of our top five, arguably top five,
Yeah.
easily
Yeah.
top five
Yeah.
prospects.
Yeah.
What's coming in return? And I would say for those first 5 minutes, uh, I think I owe again Kent Hughes and Jeff Gorton an apology because once sorry for even doubting you guys because and not to sound like just a homer and not to sound like just here to kiss the Montreal Canadiens rear and say nothing they can do no wrong, but when you start doing a deep dive into um, Bolduc and what he brought to the table and his scoring after the Four Nations face off and his potential and start looking at his shot and where he could fit into the
Mhm.
lineup, we might have stole a 25 to 30 goal scorer who's already doing that or already has that capacity to do it in the NHL. Logan Mailloux played one game. Sure, he has points in his one game, but all that to say is we genuinely might have stolen a 25 to 30 goal scorer. Our God chez
Yeah.
nous, so it translates to a guy from here, a Quebecer from here,
Local
who's going
boy.
to
Yeah.
wear his heart on his sleeve. We played against guys, and I think he's a lot. I think he's a lot better than this. We lost Heineman. We lost
Mhm.
Heineman, but I think we got a significant upgrade on Heineman, and in
Yeah.
Noah Dobson, we got a significant upgrade on Mailloux. And we talked about those picks. Those picks wouldn't have really had an impact for the next 5 to 6 years. So at the end of the day, looking at this, and we lost two draft assets that are not going to be of relative importance to us, and we improved on those two positions in losing Heineman and Mayu. Like outstanding work. Just another. And by the way, this doesn't mean that St. Louis lost the trade either. Just for any fans who are listening to us from the St. Louis fan base, if hopefully we
Yeah.
do have a
Welcome.
few fans
Yeah.
listening in.
Yeah.
But all
Yeah.
that to say, it
Welcome.
doesn't mean that it's a loss. You guys addressed the need, and we addressed the need at the same time. I think this could be a fantastic trade for both organizations. But the fact is, even you have St. Louis Blues scouts, talent scouts, and they were pissed off. They were genuinely pissed off
Oh, there was
about losing
a lot
Bolduc.
of fans and a lot of, I guess, the news reporters on the St. Louis Blues side of things. They were not happy. I don't think I don't think they were upset of getting Logan Mailloux in return. I think they were just more upset of just losing Zachary Bolduc to anybody, let alone you know. I love that you mentioned that he's a Heineman replacement, but better. And we loved what Heineman brought every night until
Absolutely.
he fucking gets hit by a car. And I think that injury set him back big time because at one point, him on the fourth line, he was popping some numbers and he was showing his shot. And then you're there thinking, like, okay, like if there's an injury up the lineup on the third line or something, hey, man, he could probably go up there. But now you bring a Zachary Bolduc who probably has, I wouldn't say third line profile, but definitely a second line. But let's say he starts the season on the third line and there's an injury somewhere. Well, he could go up that line. And bringing in Zach Bolduc, you just made your whole special teams on the power play that much better. And I
Yeah.
think I think that's where the Canadians pro scout, they were looking at him, especially the second half of the season, seeing what he did. He was putting points on the power play as well, and you just bolstered your special teams by having him here. So, to a reminder to our audience, in 72 games last season, 36 points, and 19 of those were goals. So just one shy of being a 20 goal scorer at only
And
the age of
14 and 40 before you go on. Only at the age of 22, sorry, I'm going to finish your
yeah,
sentence,
yeah,
but
yeah, go.
14 of those goals came in the back half of the season
Mm-hmm.
after the Four Nations face-off, and one of the most significant changes was Jim Montgomery came in.
Oh, a
There
thousand
was a
percent.
coaching. So if again, if he's well surrounded and Marty can again get some of the best out of him,
Oh, I think he will,
kind of
dude.
like Jim
Oh my
Montgomery
god.
was.
Oh my
That's
god.
why I say
Yeah.
with confidence we might have got a 25 to 30 goal scorer, and that's not exaggerating whatsoever. Like he was on pace to do that and more at the end of the season. He was the number one rookie scorer after the Four Nations face-off, and at
Well,
14 goals out of 19. Imagine that.
let's look at the trend a little bit. Who on the Canadians exploded after the Four Nations tournament?
Suzuki, I
Well,
think first
exactly.
and
So
foremost.
so there's a bit of like a kind of I don't know if it's a trend or something, but I don't think it's a coincidence that we brought in another player, a young player who's gonna, like Zook said in one of the reels that he made, he's gonna fit into the mold of that young core, and he's only 22. He's 6 foot, like at least he's 6 feet. He put a bit of muscle probably, but he's feisty. He's not afraid to get in the dirty areas, not afraid to get in the corners. He's not afraid to dish out the body. I think the best highlight of the entire season is when he was standing in front of Sam Montembeault at an angle, looking at David Savard behind the net, and in French, he's like, "I wait tabarnak." I completely forgot that was him. So that's probably his best highlight. But I mean, 19 goals on the season, and it's such, and I think he could be one of those key character guys if the Canadians make the playoffs again. One of those guys that's gonna do a bit of the dirty work and bring momentum, get the boys going a little bit. And I'm not talking about dropping the gloves, but just he's not a big hitter, but like just he could be fierce.
I'm,
He could be fierce
I'm
if he
gonna
wants.
I'm gonna throw a name your way
Mm-hmm.
because we faced the guy in the playoffs as a little hint. I think, mark my words, Bolduc is better offensively than the guy that I'm about to list. But think back and go rewatch the highlights. Unfortunately, losing highlights. Look what Brandon Zurem did for the Washington Capitals.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
a super big guy, but man, he freaking wore down the Canadians'
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
defensive core. He was all first on the forecheck. Just he was everywhere. He was everywhere. A few stupid penalties and what have you, but on the overall, like I really, really do think that he's going to bring a very nice forecheck, like Emil Heineman too. Emil
Yeah.
Heineman was one of
Yeah.
our best forecheckers as well.
Oh, him too. Heineman, he wasn't afraid of hitting. He was not afraid. He had the body and the size for it. He wasn't afraid. I just think maybe on the scoring touch, but Bolduc is better. And Heineman had some power play opportunities. Obviously, there were a bit of injuries at the time, but having that Bolduc there just makes your second power play that much better, and that's important too. And again, you look at why they went and acquire Patrick Laine last offseason. Well, it's almost the same reason why they went and acquire Bolduc. They went and get a kid that could score, but that could score on the power play. And if he's not the first wave, you know what I mean. Now teams are going to recognize this. Teams now, especially maybe not at this exact moment, but bless you. But
Thank you.
you're welcome. But when time comes, when September, October, and the season begins, like Marty and the coaching staff, they're going to construct a heck of a power play unit or a heck of a special teams unit, especially for the man advantage. Yeah, power play one, you're probably going to have. I mean, we could go into predicting what
Let's do it. Let's
what
do it.
what
Let's deep dive into this
I want
quickly.
I want to predict what the power play lines are going to be with Zach Bolduc and Noah Dobson. I truly believe. I truly believe now we finally have two quarterbacks for the power play.
Each power play.
For each power play. You have Lane Hudson is definitely going to be one of them, and you have Noah Dobson who's going to be the second one. And I've had discussions with friends and other Habs fans out there, and a lot of people are like, oh, I can't wait to see Lane Hudson with Noah Dobson on the first power play. And I'm there thinking, I'm like, as much as I would love to see it, I would love to see Noah Dobson there for the slap shot, but I still think you take a bit of that power play master in Lane Hudson, his unpredictability of making plays on the power play. If Liney's there, I think you cannot put Dobson on the same power play unit as Lane Hudson and Patrick Liney.
So I'm gonna give you a bold prediction over here. I'm gonna say the first line is gonna stay completely intact on the first power play,
So
meaning Suzuki,
yeah,
Caulfield, Slav is going to be doing the dirty work in front of the net. Caulfield
okay.
is going to be your one-time shot where Patrick Laine was kind of lining up. Suzuki is going to be setting up plays along with Demidov, who's going to be both in a position to shoot or pass,
Mm-hmm.
and Hudson is going to be running it. The reason why I'm saying power play 2 is likely going to be more Doc, Laine, Dobson, Bolduc. Those are the four. The fifth guy, whether it's going to be, I don't think it's going to be Gallagher. I think the gritty guy who's going to get into the bumper spot is definitely going to be Bolduc. So I think like a
Mm-hmm.
guy like Josh Anderson or Brendan Gallagher, unfortunately, they're not going to be getting as much power play time, if
I
any.
don't think Josh
Uh,
Anderson's going to go on the power play. I think
I, I, I,
he did such a great job as a penalty killer. He kind of like revived his game a little bit as a penalty killer. So I don't think we're going to see, unless there's an injury, but I don't think we're going to see Josh Anderson on any power plays right now.
that's it. But just to continue on that idea, it's just to say, I think if you have Dobson and Laine, you have two shooting options, so they can't overcommit to Laine, they can't overcommit to Dobson either. The way I see the first power play is it's so creative. It's going to be so creative and so dynamic. That's just going to be borderline impossible to stop. But the way that the second power play unit is going to work, you'll have Doc, who's going to be on the creative side. You'll have Bolduc, who's ready to shoot and get into that bumper spot and get the dirty
Mm-hmm.
goals. You'll have
Mm-hmm.
Laine, who can line up for the one-time shot. You'll also have Dobson, who can run the power play as the quarterback, but also have a big-time shot. And then whoever you want to put as the fourth guy. Seriously, name whoever you want.
Well,
Like I really couldn't care.
I think it's going to come down between Newhook or Gallagher.
I think so too. I
I
think that's
think
a
so.
great call.
Okay, so let's recap. So you're saying your first power play is Suzuki. Okay, let's go. Okay, one
Suzuki,
defense,
I'll name it. Suzuki,
one defenseman. So Lane Hudson. Okay,
Hudson,
yeah, go with the forwards.
with Demidov as
Yeah,
well. We're
yeah.
setting up the plays, and then you have the first line being Suzuki, Caulfield, Slavkovsky. That's power play 1. That's going to be
Okay.
power play. No. Hear me out, because there's going to be an additional tier. That is going to be power play 1.
Mm-hmm.
Power play 2 would be Dobson, Laine, Doc, Bolduc, and like we said, either Gallagher or Newhook. It might be good. There's a lot of right hand shots from what we said, so I think it might fall a little bit more towards Newhook, believe it or not. Now, the one big thing that I'm going to say in terms of the power play is if we get a 5-on-3, I don't necessarily think that they are going to run Slavkovsky on that first power play. I think they might switch out Slavkovsky to bring on Dobson to have like if they really need a goal, if they're down a man. I'm not saying that Slavkovsky is not needed. I'm just saying uh, I don't know. Look, this is my guess. I'm a fan just like
No,
you
no,
and just like
I'm
anybody
trying to
listening.
guess. Yeah, you know where my mind just suddenly went. My head just suddenly went to like the extra attacker, like with final seconds remaining.
Exactly. Exactly.
I went straight to Hudson, Dobson. Even though they're not going to be a pair, you're going to have to put those two together. You're going to have maybe most likely your fuck. You're going to have your first line. No, or and then who's the extra attacker? Is it Line for the shot? Is it Demidov for the creativity? I mean, it's a good problem to
What a
have,
fucking
but
problem to have.
it's
What an
not. It's
amazing
not.
problem to
It's
have,
not a. It's not
Jesus.
a bad problem to have. And like you, and all you do is you tell Slav, yo, park your ass in front of the goalie and fucking screen him, and
Yeah.
just push their defenseman out of the way. So I might go a slightly different direction for the first power play wave. Like I said, I just think because the way Lane Hudson has fed Patrick Laine for the whole season on the power play, I think you need to keep those two there. You're definitely going to have Suzuki there. So I have Hudson, I have Laine, I have Suzuki. I still think you could have Caulfield at the bumper spot just because it gives Suzuki two options instead of just one, and even gives Hudson two options.
Hudson. Yeah.
Now, am I love Slavkovsky's chemistry with those two. I could say him, but I think it's going to be a toss up between him and Demidov.
Yeah.
So now power play number 2, Noah Dobson quarterbacking it with I'll go with either with Doc, with Demidov or Slav. You pick it. Bolduc is going to be there. It's going to come down between Gallagher or Newhook, whoever's got the better touch. I know we all know Brendan Gallagher parks his ass in front of the net, and there's a shit disturber there for us. Whatever it comes down to, but I think if you're gonna have, and I think listeners right now are probably saying, well, you can't have Liney and Caulfield shooters being on the
Oh,
same
you
power
can.
play.
Absolutely,
I
you
think
can.
you can, and to be honest, I think you have to have Liney on that left circle more than Caulfield, just because Liney has a harder shot. That's all it is. Caulfield has a fantastic shot. He could snipe it from anywhere, just because Liney's better at it, in my opinion. So at the end of the day, though, this is a good problem to have. And all that to say, to come back full circle, is now just having Bolduc, who had success at the bumper spot in St. Louis. You put him there, man, because he has the shot. You put him there, this power play becomes that much more dangerous. And I'm so excited. I'm beyond
After
excited.
I couldn't agree more. And after this trade, like you said, I genuinely feel as though we're gonna have one of the top 10 power plays in the league. I
Oh,
couldn't care how that sounds.
if no,
It's just
if they do,
Between Dobson and I'm telling you, fans, go listen to some of his old coaches, go listen to some of the analysts, go watch for yourself some of the shots that he takes, the speed at which he can get the puck off of his stick. He reminds me of a young Mike Hoffman. Mike Hoffman had a
Mike
lethal
Mike
wrist
Hoffman
shot.
was, dude. In terms of shooting, like Joey, I remember at one point was like, we need Mike Hoffman for his shot, but this was before disaster kind of went down Mike Hoffman's way in his career. I don't know if it was before Joey said this, before that whole shit thing that went down in Ottawa. But we talk about as far as left-handed shooters are concerned, like we wanted guys like Kyle Connor and all that, but Mike Hoffman was up there in terms of one of the most lethal shots in the league.
Yep. And that's what I'm saying. Bolduc has a very similar shot. Like it's not there was somebody who said it so well. It's not the power of the shot. It's the quickness of which it gets off his stick and starts going towards the net that doesn't give the goalie much time to adjust and prep for it. And in that sense, that's what makes it such a lethal shot. So it completely changes. Like I listen to a lot of Pierre Maguire
Yeah,
on the Sick podcast
yeah.
pretty much every night with
I
Tony
love the
Manor.
eye
Like
test with him and Jimmy Murphy.
they're fantastic on 690, and
Mm-hmm.
there are
Him too.
so many
There too.
individuals. It's it's beyond any doubt the Canadians have built something extremely special, and I think like I'm trying to manage expectations here. There's still going to be young guys. This is going to be Demidov's first season. There's some guys who are going to
Yeah,
be a little bit older,
yeah.
but like the playoff experience, the 1 year older, I think a lot of guys are going to be taking a step forward. A lot of guys are going to be hungry. There's going to be, I think, I'm sorry to say this, but we did not have two legitimate power play lines last year. That's
No,
why I'm saying I
no,
think we're going to be
no.
top 10 with having a secondary power play quarterback. All respect to him. Mike Matheson was not the guy who was going to
No,
be
and
properly
that's okay.
quarterbacking,
That's
and that's
okay.
okay.
You know,
Exactly.
because I'm telling you all now, Noah Dobson coming to the Montreal Canadiens might be the biggest blessing in disguise for Mike Matheson's career, at least for
So
the final year of his contract with the Montreal Canadiens. If Noah Dobson can give Mike Matheson a break as far as ice time, and if I look at Josh Anderson that year, that just nothing was working for him, and Marty revamped his game, gave like telling, I'm for sure somewhere down the line, Marty told him, like, look, dude, you're still the guy, but you don't have to score 20 goals anymore.
yeah,
But if you just fucking bring the puck in the zone, hit, and we're going to give you a role where you could defend on the special teams and still give you something significantly important for the success of this team. And look what it did for Josh Anderson. I truly believe the same thing is coming for Mike Matheson. I
uh,
really think Marty, because Mike Matheson on the penalty kill was much better
yeah,
than Mike
he's
Matheson on the
good.
power play.
Yes,
And
absolutely,
I
absolutely.
really think, I truly believe Mike Matheson, you give him that role on the penalty kill, and you like right now with Noah Dobson coming and Caden Goulding getting older and Lane Hudson having a rookie of the year season. Mike Matheson went from being forced to be the number one defenseman on the Montreal Canadiens to suddenly the number four. Suddenly.
100,
And
100% agreed.
and you cannot I cannot express how good that is for the guy. It
Like
really is.
I completely agree. I'm gonna say something. I'm gonna say something that might piss off a few fans, but I think the same applies to Dobson.
Mm-hmm.
9.5 million is a lot of money. He should be able to play in every single situation.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not a defensive I'm not the defensive coach. I'm not a defensive coach of the Montreal Canadiens. But I also think it becomes an immediate, this is my opinion, but it should be an immediate adjustment. Lane Hudson and Noah Dobson do not see a single second of penalty kill time unless they're absolutely needed. You have Mike Matheson, you
Yep.
have Caden Gooley, you have
Yep.
Alexandre Carrier,
Yep.
you have Arbor Jacki or
Or
Jaden
Jaden
Struble who are
Struble.
coming in.
Dude. Oh,
And that's the thing.
perfect.
They're saying, oh well, Dobson is not strong on the weak side. I think we're in a position where we do not have to expose
Mm-hmm.
any single one of our defensemen to a situation where they're not
Comfortable. Yeah.
fully in tune and
Yeah.
like
1,000%.
supposed
It's
to
not,
be
yeah,
playing.
yeah,
Simply put,
1,000%. Oh, I couldn't have said it better than that. I want to go back to Bolduc. I want to make one final point, and then I want to talk quickly about the Montreal Canadiens development camp for a lot of the prospects here. Zachary Bolduc and what he can do and where he's at in terms of his career. Like, I love that Cantu said we've got him because of his potential and all that, but he fits the mold of the young core, 22-year-olds. And he's not a rookie anymore, and he made the playoffs. He got experience from some veterans there too, and that helps coming to this team. Something I thought of, but Zachary Bolduc coming to the Montreal Canadiens might put a prospect like Joshua Roy's spot in peril a little bit.
I couldn't agree more. I'm fucking
And
tired of agreeing with you on this episode, but I couldn't agree more.
and I hate saying, because I like Joshua Roy. I like watching him in Laval, but he still hasn't done enough to convince management that he has a spot here, or like Marty's famous chair. Like Zachary Bolduc coming really, it tells Joshua was like, hey buddy, you need to wake up and fucking start training and start showing some intensity in your game. Like he's still a smart player. He can still score goals in Laval, but if you want to make the NHL, it's time to up your game a little bit, boy.
Let's go a step further. Okay. Who, in my opinion, there are two guys who risk making the jump. Three guys that making the jump from the AHL to the NHL. Um, just bear with me here. First, I'm going to go to the defensive just because I say guys who risk making the jump. Um, David Reinbacher might come
Mm-hmm.
in, and I think the day when David Reinbacher is going to come in, that's when Mike Matheson's days are going to be numbered. That's just my opinion, but park
Mm-hmm.
that idea. I don't want to go into a deep dive. That'll be for another day. David Reinbacher is just one of the three players that I see potentially making the jump from the AHL to the NHL. The
Yeah.
second guy is Owen Beck. If Owen
Yeah.
Beck makes the jump,
Yeah.
it's highly unlikely that they're going to want to develop him on the wing. He's likely going to be a center. What does that mean? Already you're likely third line center Alex Newhook might be a guy that pushes to the wing. So to your point, who's
Mm-hmm.
playing left wing or right wing? It should be it should be Joshua Roy, but that's already with Newhook moving to a wing. That's already one less spot on the wing. And the third guy that I'm going to mention is Florian Jacki. Why would Florian Jacki be coming up? To add in that physical presence. I don't want to rush the kid. Like everything in due time. But I do think that Florian Jacki, if he really bulks up and he's having another fantastic season, he might very well be a guy that we call up for the third or I'd say more fourth line. But again, that is one less spot for Joshua Roy. So again, when I say I agree, I think that's a very logical point because the role players that we need and the guys who are most likely to be coming up and part of the Montreal Canadiens sooner rather than later are directly influencing Joshua Roy's spot. So yeah, can he be
Mm-hmm.
trade bait? Absolutely.
But do you notice slowly Kent Hughes is kind of getting rid of the Mark
Bergevin
Bergevin
accumulation.
selections and picks slowly. Aside from Caden Gooley, locked in long term, Cole Caulfield, Nick Suzuki. Hopefully, Arbor Jacki is going to be one of them, but I could see Jaden Struble going one day. Logan Mailloux is gone. Caden Primo is gone. So is Joshua Roy going to be amongst them? I wouldn't be surprised if it happens. The Canadiens also acquired Sammy Blais too, right?
Yes.
And
Yeah.
so for me, I think he's a bigger, better version than a Michael Pezzetta, who unfortunately had to go sign with Toronto, and we wish our Paisan all the best. It's sad to see him go because we loved him for
Why Toronto, man? I know
Italian.
you grew up there, but
He's from there.
perché?
Well, his father's a Toronto Fire captain, so I can
I wish him
understand.
all the
We
best.
do.
But
We still love him. Don't want to see him where, but Sammy Blake coming too, like he might add grit to that fourth line. We're gonna wait and see training camp. I really think Sammy Blais is gonna make the team as the 12th forward or the 13th forward, most likely. I mean, he won the Calder Cup with Abbotsford, the Vancouver Canucks farm team, and he beat Capo Kakkonen too in the finals, who the Canadiens bring as well. So both Sammy Blais and Capo Kakkonen on a 1 year one way contract. Like, what does Kakkonen mean to Jakub Dobeš? I really think Capo Kakkonen could challenge Dobeš for the backup spot of Monty.
that brings such an interesting dynamic in that sense because I'd really hope, and this is just a simple hope. I really hope that we have Dobesh up here, and I
Yeah,
really hope
same.
that Monty, it's like a 60-40 or a 55-45 type of split between
Yeah,
Monty
yeah,
and
probably.
Dobesh as much as possible. I'm really hoping that they're bringing Kakinen in for a like veteran support, show Fowler the ropes. If
Yeah,
Fowler's having a tougher
that's
time,
what I'm
they
thinking.
can
Yeah.
play him and kind of let him reset in a certain sense. But I think it's imperative for the Montreal Canadiens to give as much playing time to Jacob Fowler. So
Yeah,
I
1000%.
genuinely think he's coming in as a mentor for the AHL level. Can he push Dobesh? Yes, but I think it's completely counterintuitive for what the Canadiens are going to go for down the line. And the other thing too is we've had this discussion in the past 2 or 3 episodes, maybe multiple of those episodes. the day is going to come, folks, that there will be a pick to be made between Jakub Dobes as a backup to Jacob Fowler
Yeah,
or Samuel Montembeault.
a
Make your
1,000%,
peace, make your bed, get ready
thousand
for that.
percent.
And how are you going to prep for a trade? How are you going to prep for one of these guys to be departing and going to another team? They have to be in the NHL. That's why I just don't see
Yep.
it as a possibility for Kakinen to
Oh,
steal that spot away.
I totally agree. The only thing is, I think if they send Kakinen to the minors, he's got to clear waivers. Is he one of those goalies that could be acquired, but then the risk of sending him through waivers or something? It's going to be interesting to see. But I totally agree. The only concern I have is that with Kakinen and a veteran like him that went to the Calder Finals, that beat both Caden Primo and Jacob Fowler in the Eastern Finals, and I watched the game live, and he was great. Kakinen was great. Is he going to get more games than Jacob Fowler, or is it going to be a split? Like, I want Fowler to get 50 games minimum in the minors. The Laval Rocket plays 72 games a season. I want Fowler to go down the same path as Jakub Dobes. He played 52 games before getting called up. So I'm hoping for that. Is that going to happen? Well, that remains to be seen with Pascal Vincent, if he's still the coach, which I hope he is. But it's interesting. The Canadiens, they bolstered their defensive lineup. They bolstered at least their bottom six for now. And they still brought back a lot of Quebec veterans to Laval. Alex Belzile comes back. Toby Pocket Bisson comes back. They signed a couple of guys too that are veterans. And I think the young guys with the experience they got making the playoffs, going to the Eastern Finals, but knowing what it's like to face guys in their mid to late 20s that are in prime peak physical shape, like Rob Ramage at the Canadiens development camp. He said it the other day. He goes, they had a great postseason, but you could tell they're still in their young early 20s types of bodies, and that they got manhandled. He said it in one way or another. They got manhandled. They need to hit the gym. And if everybody, those guys, the Florian Jack guys, the Owen Beck, the Luke Tuck, the David Reinbackers too, William Trudeau is coming back, and hopefully he stays healthy. Those guys hit the gym. Like, dude, this is where management has insane leadership qualities, because they don't just think about the Montreal Canadiens. They think about their farm team and whatever development program they got going on there. That's going to lead to success. That's what's going to bring Florian Jackeye up there. Tyler Thorpe now, he's going to start his pro career over there.
Man.
And the kid's a beast,
Yeah.
This is going to lead me right into the development program that just happened these past couple of days. The guys that really stuck out for me was Michael Hage. He looks faster and stronger, put on 10 pounds of muscle.
10 pounds. There you go.
Tyler Thorpe is a beast.
TJ Mooney.
Dude, this kid 5'7" is absolutely insane.
He's got that Gallagher fight in him. He's got that
Gallagher
career.
fight. He's got that Gallagher fight. He's got that Caulfield
skill and
charisma
speed
and that Lane Hudson skill. Like, he's got those three player qualities in him. He's got his first interview, the kid was all smiles, and he looks up to Cole Caulfield, but he watched Lane Hudson play in the national development program. Like, he's got all of them. He's got that Brendan Gallagher in him. Like, he's only they measured him at 5'7". He's only 18. He's got maybe another year or two to grow, put on muscle. Maybe he grows into 5'8", 5'9", but maybe this kid will one day be that Brendan Gallagher replacement. And I'm one of those guys that's like, the less small players, the better, but it's still, we're in a different era of hockey where it's like, it's still possible. And I look at the Florida Panthers, the way they've been winning and all that. Anyways, but another big kid, you mentioned Florian Jackeye. I mentioned Tyler Thorpe. We got to mention the Canadiens' third-round pick, Hayden Papanikis. Sorry to the Greek community if I'm mispronouncing this. This kid is a beast. I see him being a Jake Evans replacement one day on the fourth line as the fourth line centerman. And as much as I want to, I know I've mentioned Luke Tuck there a couple of times. He's been having injury issues. But if one day, if we see a line of Florian Jackeye, Tyler Thorpe, and this kid Hayden Papanikis on the fourth line, that is going to be that. Those are big kids, 6'5", 6'5", 6'4" in Florian. These are big kids. The Canadians are building for size as well. I don't care if they drafted 5'7" TJ Mooney. They still got size, man. They know what they're doing. They know who they're picking for the reasons they did.
There are a few things. Okay, so first off, for the draft picks that they acquired, like TJ Mooney and um,
Zorowski?
Papadakis. No, no,
Hayden,
no.
Papa Nick. So
Okay,
sorry.
I apologize because that's one of the names that you have to review before the show, and I didn't do my review.
Yeah,
Now, but
I
all that
forgot
to
to, but
say
it's
is
okay.
all that to say is that I feel like I think this is not. I think there have been some strategic replacements, and what you're talking about, Sam, is what's in the pipeline. The Canadians are very calculated, and they have a keen eye on okay, what's going to be next, not what's immediately next, but what's going to be next. Do we have the replacements? Talked about a Jake Evans replacement. I think that's a brilliant comparison. But the one takeaway that I see in this particular draft and what I'm seeing from the Canadians on the overall is it seems as though they are swinging for the fences, and
Mm-hmm.
and it's been paying off. I swear, I don't know if it's because we've had very bad luck with draft picks over the years that just karma, things kind of, or not the law of karma, but like things kind of balance themselves out. But we have hit seemingly home run after home run after. I mean, just take just take Lane Hudson alone. Lane Hudson
Yeah.
is number one overall pick. If you can redraft, he is the number one overall pick. We stole him. We absolutely stole him in the second round. It's going to go down as one of the best picks to ever happen in this Montreal Canadiens organization and arguably within the league. All that to say is we have been absolutely taking chances, and the Canadians' direction has been swinging for the fences. The expression being they're taking these chances on these higher risk players are highly talented, maybe I don't want to say unilateral players, but players that bring a specific dynamic. They might not be super well rounded, but they have just some certain incredible attribute of theirs that they can bring to the game that influences the game in one way or another. All I'm saying is that it's been very impressive to see them take these risks, and they've been panning out. Really like what we're seeing. Again, character and the
Mm-hmm.
individuals that they're
Yep.
drafting
Yep.
is just solid across the board. It always comes out to being the same types of things over and over, the same types of good human beings who are very motivated to win, who are again, they're young kids. Most of them are going to be
Yeah.
that
Yeah.
way. I have never had so much confidence in our organization. It is, I hate to say it, but it's an abnormal feeling. It's an abnormal feeling for us as Montreal
No,
Canadiens
it's
fans
there.
to feel as though there's such a fantastic plan.
The
It's not
level.
we're
The
making the
level.
playoffs and we'll see what happens.
The level
It's
of
not that.
no, it's not that. It's we're building a team that could contend for years to come, and the level of optimism and hope is at a whole other level. I feel like at times during the Bergevin era, no disrespect to them, maybe it's because we had Carey Price. We always had that hope, but I don't know if there was some in denial at the same
I think
time.
so.
I don't know if there was some denial at the same time. Whereas this time around, it feels genuine, different era, different management. All that to say is, I couldn't agree with you more. And you watch these kids during this development camp, and it's a small sample size. Like Atos Koivu looked pretty good too, son of Sacco,
Oh my
especially in the
god.
shootout. Very, very, very. There's some big resemblance there. Like they showed the two highlights, but you could tell Michael Hage is at an upper level a little bit in terms of
Yeah.
physicality, and maybe just him being in Michigan, which is they have a fantastic hockey program over there. You could tell he's a notch above everybody else. That's why he went in the first round, and it's crazy to me that some fans out there truly believed that the Canadians had to trade Michael Hage in order to get Noah Dobson. It's absolutely There was absolutely no way that Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon were going to give up Michael Hage, or if you even want to throw in David Reinbacher in there to go get Noah Dobson. The story behind Michael Hage, his father, his family,
Exactly.
and the love that they have for this
Destiny.
team, it
Destiny.
was destined. There was no way in hell that Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon were going to trade their second first round pick for Noah Dobson. I'm throwing in David Reinbacher in there just because of the whole quote unquote controversy that came with it, where they should have picked Mitchkov, but instead they picked David Reinbacher. There was no way, after going through all of that, Kent Hughes and Jeff Gordon were going to get rid of him. They know that David Reinbacher is going to be part of this defensive core for years to come. There was no way they were going to give them up. So I just couldn't believe people were going to think that Michael Hage had to be the piece going for a Noah Dobson. I just couldn't. There was absolutely no way. And I'm so thrilled it never went down that way.
Perhaps that's exactly what you're saying, but I just find it preposterous that people would even consider trading
Yeah.
him. So
Oh,
you're saying
1,000%.
it might have required Michael Hage. I'm saying, how dare certain individuals even think of trading him in the first place? Like he's
Like, unless,
as far as we're concerned, he's untouchable. For now, he's
like,
untouchable completely.
unless you're getting like a Leon Draisaitl, or I don't even want to throw in Jack Eichel because he's going to be a free agent. And mind you, Michael Hage says he wants to model this game after Jack Eichel. So if he could be half the player that Jack Eichel is, like, we're already winning. But I'm so excited to watch his. I think it's going to be his final year in Michigan and in college. And there's so many guys so many of these kids that I'm really going to start paying attention to. Zarovsky too, out in Russia. Like,
My God,
this kid's got crazy hands, and it's too bad he couldn't be there. I don't think they were able to get a working visa for him to come over to Canada, but it's just the way it is. But to end things off, even during that development camp, two players of the Montreal Canadiens that we're seeing on the ice for the past week, Ivan Demidov and Kirby Dach. And
yeah.
I know it's
Demidov, Jesus Christ. Jesus,
like
not to get religious here. This guy, I cannot wait.
the
You know,
work
like
ethic, dude.
it's summertime. It's the most beautiful time here in Montreal. It's one of those few moments during the year that you actually want to be around in the city and everything like that. This kid is just plugging away on the ice. He has no care in the world outside of getting better in hockey. I cannot wait for the cold season to come just to see
And
him
yeah,
deliver these
but
pearls on the ice. I don't know what you want to call it, but
yeah,
just
no, it's magic. But Kirby Dach to me is giving me another glimpse of hope. I don't know if I should or if I shouldn't. And a lot of
let's
Habs fans on Twitter, they're like, "Oh my God, they want to believe. They want to believe." And his hands are looking good. Like, he was making a couple like like, I
let's
want to. And then somebody posted 2022 Kirby Dach highlights, and you're there. You're like, "Oh my God, we forgot that he could do this."
I'm hoping I'm gonna start calling him. I'm gonna cue the name over here. I'm hoping that Kirby Dach can be Cinderella Man. I don't know if
Mm-hmm.
anybody watched the movie
Great movie.
Cinderella Man, old
Great
boxing
movie.
movie, Russell Crowe, but
Denzel
basically
Washington.
very talented fighter who ended up winning the heavyweight championship. Spoiler alert! But all that to say is that he was injured a lot earlier on in his career and went on to do great things, kind of a one last chance. And I think Kirby
Oh my
Dach is
God.
right there at his last chance.
Oh my,
He
yeah,
has
it
to
is.
perform,
Oh, I think,
and he
yeah.
can. I think he can. You have to hope and pray that he's going to stay
Well, he
healthy.
definitely took to heart. I think he's listening to what Jeff Gordon said. Like, he's going to need a big off-season training and in the gym and conditioning. He's going to need a big camp, and I really think he's taking to heart. And if I think he should stay in Montreal the whole summer, and just him and Demidov, if they're going to be line mates together, just fucking keep skating, keep practicing, be in the gym, man.
Yep.
It's encouraging. I'm very, very encouraged. I already can't wait. It's July 4th, like I said. I already can't wait for like October 4th to arrive or something like that. So I
Yeah.
think we could end it on that note. But
Well,
it's fun.
I just want to read. I just want to read off a list. This is
Mm-hmm.
coming directly from Grant McCagg.
Mm.
The 26 and under core.
Yeah.
And we're not even going to mention some of the prospects that were just drafted, but the 26 and under core resembles the following: Suzuki,
Mm-hmm.
Dobson,
Mm-hmm.
Caulfield, Hudson, Demidov, Reinbacher, Slav, Guli, Bolduc, Kirby Doc, Zarovsky, Michael Hage. I technically I broke the rule. I listed somebody from this draft, but I think he should be mentioned. Hage, Kapanen, Struble, Newhook, Jacob Fowler, Owen Beck, Jakub Dobesh, and the Jackeye brothers.
Yeah.
If you cannot see what we have coming, and some of you look, some of those names, I look at Struble, I look at Kapanen, I look at Newhook. Uh, I think that could end up being trade bait. You admit it. Let's admit it or not. Kirby Doc, if he doesn't perform up to the standards that we are hoping that he can do, he might also become trade bait. But if you look at that, there is no team, and there's uh, Florida Panthers, God bless them. They had some good drafting. They had Barkov, they had Ekblad, but they did a hell of a good job making trades,
Yeah.
signing
And
guys,
signings.
and
Yeah.
bringing that in. I have not seen. I couldn't care whether it was the Tampa Bay Lightning, maybe the Pittsburgh. You can say the Pittsburgh Penguins because they had Crosby, but Crosby was a more of a one man with some very good support. If you're
Yeah.
taking that group
Malkin, Fleury, Letang too. Yeah. Yeah.
if you're taking that group, like I said, the closest team that you will come to for drafting purposes is the 2010 Chicago Blackhawks, which like an absolute dominant force that were impossible to
Mm-hmm.
knock off their game. They are going to be so deep in every single respective position at every single line. We have clear prospects that are coming up in the pipeline that are going to be ready to go to replace any of these guys as trade bait. We get a second line center, or simply put, Kirby Doc plays up to that potential. This is going to be one of the most outstanding teams with the most depth, with players coming in the pipeline, playing their respective roles to a T without having to put anybody else in roles that they're uncomfortable playing. Ladies and gentlemen, like I know that we just qualified for the playoffs, but the moves that the Montreal Canadiens made, the draft picks that they made, the development of the players and what we're seeing on the ice at the Complexe Sportif CN, everything you put that all together, I don't think I'm gonna make that bold prediction too, and I'm not the only one who's here saying it. I think the Montreal Canadiens are going to be one of the best teams in the East. That
Oh, in a few years,
look, call it as you
absolutely.
wish.
Oh, I totally
No,
agree.
no, Sam. I don't think in a few years. I think the
This
Montreal
year?
Canadiens are going to catch a lot of teams by surprise. I think they're going to be a dominant force out of the gate. I don't know what it is. Again, that's a homer pick. That's a hometown bias, whatever you want to call it. I just think that there is so much more depth, and I'm going to go back to it. It's the third time now, twice in the past 30 seconds, three times this episode. All the players are going to be playing where they are supposed
Supposed to
to.
play.
The
Yeah. Yeah.
roles that they have are going to be so clearly defined. And I don't feel like there's going to be more than two players who are going to have, barring injuries, who are going to have to step out of their respective roles and do anything that is beyond their comfort this season. And that's why I think the Montreal Canadiens, again, I I I swear to God, I have heart palpitations, and I'm brutally excited to see what's to come. And God bless the summer, and let's enjoy this time. But holy smokes, I cannot wait
It's it.
for the fall to come.
Oh, it's exciting! It's exciting. We're gonna end the episode on that. I can't say anything better than that, Chris. So awesome stuff. Well, listen, that wraps it up. Another episode of the Curfew Boys. Thank you once again for tuning in. If you've been watching us on YouTube, please click like and subscribe. It's absolutely free. Share it with your friends. Exciting time for Habs fans out there. So find a Habs fan, send them the Curfew Boys podcast, like and subscribe. Like I said, it's absolutely free. A big thank you to our sponsors, Habs Cave, Mike's Barbecue Rub. Give them a shout on Twitter. We are available on Twitter as well, X, whatever you want to call it. We have Instagram, Facebook, TikTok that you can message us there. Audio episodes available on platforms like Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Chris, Really, really appreciate it. Summer's coming. We might take tiny little breaks here and there. But we will be back for more content. We definitely got a lot of line predictions to discuss. We got top prospects to discuss too. That we will be back. So enjoy the summer, folks. Happy 4th of July once again to our American friends out there. Chris, go buy a couch. I know it's time, it's time for you to go buy a couch. So I'll wish you a good evening. We're definitely going to talk later. To everybody else, until then, bye now.
Bye now.
Good night.